Zadran, fear my balls, fear my bat, fear my hair, fear Zadran.
Hello from Antarctica, where I've been sent exclusively for ESPNcricinfo to cool down after the excitement of the Afghanistan-Scotland game and, of course, the New Zealand-Australia match. And, of course, England batting quite well against Sri Lanka.
So, Doc, Bill Woodfull said about England during Bodyline, there are two teams out there. One is trying to play cricket and the other is not. I think he might say something similar about this current England team, albeit for different reasons.
Yes. By the end of that Sri Lanka game, they looked like they'd seen a ghost. The ghost was running off with their wives and stealing their cars, whilst hitting them for six.
Australia versus New Zealand was perhaps the best game of bad cricket you will come across. I'm not sure why I'm pointing so much, but I think it's because of how great it was that for a little while New Zealand fans were so arrogant, so cocky, so over the top. And then they faced Mitchell Starc, and that slowly, well actually quite quickly, at their toes, fell away. This is exactly what cricket is supposed to be about. It's supposed to be overly patriotic for a little while before realizing how ridiculous it is, and both teams are actually not quite as good as we thought they were before. Andy, what do you think the form line is from this game?
What is the form line after New Zealand-Australia? Well, I suppose if you'd offered the New Zealanders skittling Australia for 150 and winning with 27 overs to spare, well, they would have quite literally bitten both of your arms off. Even if you'd said to them they would be 9 wickets down, barely able to watch, and facing a lifetime of recurring nightmares of Mitchell Starc spearing it in at 150 Ks at their toes, they would probably still have taken it. But Australia's batting was probably more error-prone than New Zealand. Starc was close to unplayable, and at least Australia can claim they were rusty after 2 weeks off thanks to the Brisbane rain and the absolutely bafflingly idiotic and overlong tournament format. So I guess if a game in which you skittle the favourites for the tournament for 150 and win with 27 overs to spare can be said to be a cause for concern, this was it. So in terms of the form line, well, objectively, on balance, I'd have to say the winners are... It doesn't matter. They won't play again for about 4 weeks, and if they do, it'll probably be in Australia in very different conditions. But overall, the winner, cricket. And the ICC, of course, an evenly matched game between Test nations. That is what World Cups are supposed to be about. That and nothing else. It's the ICC's dream. A good game between two teams they actually want in World Cups. Well, one team they actually want and one they're prepared to tolerate for now. At least until the longed-for dream of a 3-team Anglo-Indo-Australiac tournament finally comes to fruition.
It seems like a normal cricket match. A normal, harmless cricket match. Millions of young people play cricket every day, but sometimes there are dangers lurking within. It may look like nothing unusual is happening in this cricket game, but there is something very cricket wrong. Something horrific. What nobody knew, what nobody could know, was that the bowler was sick. But this is not a sickness you can see outside of the cricket arena, like measles or bubonic plague or gout. But it is a sickness nonetheless. This is a sickness of the elbow. And this bowler was a chucker. Do not trust a chucker. They split up families. They kill kittens, including these ones, dead, all of them dead. They have a greater than 15-degree flex of the elbow, which causes most famines, hemorrhoids, and some wars. They ruin all of cricket, all of it, even when they're not playing or bowling. That bit of cricket you're watching now, the chuckers are ruining it. Bowl properly, or we'll all end up dead.
Paid for by the ICC and the Society for the Prevention of Unnatural Non-Traditional Cricketing Techniques.
I've said about 17 million times, I'm not sure South Africa is the amazing side of this tournament that people thought they were. They sort of just came in, everyone just assumed it would be awesome and, you know, amazeballs, and it hasn't been amazeballs, has it? It's not been great for South Africa so far, but AB de Villiers. Now that's great. I mean, you know, he essentially could be the entire side on his own. And there are people who say he can't bowl, but if he needed to take the new ball, he would take the new ball and he would be amazing with it. But if you get past him, the side isn't so good. The thing is, how do you get past him?
The key to beating South Africa, well, let's look at the facts. Question 1, have you run out AB de Villiers? If yes, you've won. If no, you have lost. So it is looking quite crucial at this stage of the World Cup, as indeed it was in the quarter-final of the last World Cup.
There must be some excited chairman of test-playing cricket nations out there looking down going, ha ha, we told you the associates weren't good. We told you that, you know, about 30 games into the tournament, one of them would eventually not be very good. That would be embarrassing for them. We told you that when the UAE came to Western Australia to play on perhaps the most brutal pitch ever in the world, and they were going up against, I don't know, the world champions, they may not be very good because, you know, we don't give them much money or that much support. Occasionally we give them a high-performance manager and we let them play on our much better facilities, our test-playing nation facilities. But, you know, we don't help them and we don't really train them and we don't really care, you know, that they exist at all. We take their airlines' money, of course, but we don't try and help their cricket because we are the ICC and we don't care. So, Andy, how long into this tournament was it before the associates? You know what I'm saying.
Yes, it did take a long time for an associate member to receive an absolute pasting in this World Cup, but thankfully for the ICC, it has now happened. 15 days into the tournament. Let's remember, that's 15 days into this tournament. That is still relatively early in the tournaments. Also, as the old sporting adage goes, you're only as good as your last game. So I'm afraid all the associate countries are now only as good as the UAE's performance against India in the most inhospitable possible conditions for a country that basically isn't allowed to play top-level cricket against the big nations the rest of the time and doesn't qualify for many World Cups. So basically, I think that's proved that all associates are complete imposters and should not be allowed in this tournament. Cold here, very cold.
The ICC are losing it. When I ran cricket, I ran it like I was a non-benevolent dictator. It was W.G. Grace's way, or I put the bails in your eyeball.
Testify. Though you never had a change.org petition suggesting your next World Cup plan was a joke, and you hated all cricket that wasn't played by nations that you picked on random whims based on them once being part of an archaic empire that has no relevance in modern society.
True. I was a great batsman. I wasn't a monster.
Pakistan aren't going to lose to India again in this tournament. In fact, they may not lose to India again in a World Cup for the next 4 years. Cameron Akmal, he hasn't dropped a catch. He hasn't played a stupid shot. He hasn't fumbled a run out. He has not made a single mistake in this World Cup. Yunus Khan's bad ODI form, and the fact he gets picked just shows how good he is at that other form of cricket. So, okay, you can say, oh, we shouldn't be there. But he's so good at that other thing that he's here. So we should remember that. Mohammad Irfan cannot field, but it's funny he cannot field. And do you know what I mean? It's entertaining. It's like watching a tree try and stop a mouse. Syed Ajmal, Fawad Alam, Sarfraz Ahmed, Azhar Ali, all these people, every single one of them, is better now than they were had they been in the side. Every game they miss, they get better at cricket. And, you know, what more do you really want? And Pakistan, they're still playing like an animal as well. It's maybe not cornered tigers anymore. It's probably abandoned kittens. It's sort of just, you know, being thrown in a corner. But it's still an animal. Wahab Riaz. So far, Wahab Riaz has probably bowled the quickest ball in this tournament. He's just bowled amazing pace. And you know what they say? Pace is pace, yeah? The romance of Afridi and Shazad. Okay, it's, you know, a bit weird, and the photos online are a bit weird, and okay, it is a bit weird, but what it does is it gives you a story, it gives you something to hold on to, and it gives you something to put on Twitter and make fun of. Really, what is sport about if it's not about these things? And as far as I can tell, Cameron Akmal is not in this tournament. That is an awesome thing. And lastly, you know, Pakistan are going to beat Zimbabwe. They're beating them right now.